Welcome to the Unconventional Wisdom Podcast with Ed Rempel, the show about the most effective methods to achieve financial security and freedom. Find out what really works. Insights are based on in-depth experience from a fee-for-service financial planner, tax accountant, Canada's #1 financial planner blogger, and your host, Ed Rempel.
Financial advice or financial quackery? How can you tell whether financial advice you receive is real financial advice or financial quackery? Much of what happens in the financial industry is financial quackery, but because the common methods we use are familiar to us, they appear normal. You can't really see how inadequate and funny many of the financial procedures are until you compare them to other fields. Quackery is a fun word that normally refers to medicine. It's a type of health fraud that promotes products and services that you have questionable and unproven scientific bases. So, now in this video, you're going to learn what is financial quackery, why is it a major problem for Canadians, how can it ruin your retirement plan, what is risk in financial planning, and how can you make informed decisions about your risk tolerance and your goal. Unproven, usually ineffective, and sometimes dangerous medicines and treatments have been peddled throughout human history. They call them snake oil salesmen, and they heavily promoted, patent medicines. That's what they used to call them, that promised to be a miracle cure for everything. Most had no healing ingredients, and many contained alcohol or morphine to simply make the patient feel better. So how can you tell the difference between advice and quackery in medicine? The issue is not whether a product actually works or even whether the promoter, quack, honestly believes it works. Penicillin is often called a miracle cure-all. It clearly has medical benefits, but mass promoting it for everyone would obviously be quackery. So now you can identify quackery by two things. One is the focus on selling the product or service, and two, without using accepted standard medical diagnosis and treatment. Now, advice might be specific for you. No treatment is for everyone, so it must be specific for you. Essentially, any promotion of medical treatments is quackery unless you have been checked or tested by a qualified doctor to diagnose that you have the condition and recommend the proper dosage and use of the treatment. So what is financial quackery? So the financial world is also full of quackery. Just like there are established medical procedures for diagnosis and treatment, there are established procedures for financial advice. So any qualified financial advisor knows the 6-step process to financial planning. It's from our courses. So step 2, determining your goals. Step 3, analyzing your full financial position, should both be done before any recommendations, which are step 4, developing and presenting a written financial plan. And then you have specific recommendations after that. Recommending a product before setting goals, analyzing your entire financial picture, and creating a financial plan is not following accepted financial planning procedures, which makes it financial quackery. Financial quackery is essentially any promotion of financial products or services by someone that does not know your goals and your full financial picture. So just like medical quackery, the emphasis is on selling products instead of providing real advice. So now, why is this a major problem for Canadians? So in our opinion, financial quackery is actually one of the main reasons that most Canadians struggle financially. Because of it, most Canadians don't set financial goals. They make financial decisions one by one. They don't look at their entire financial picture, and they don't even realize that they didn't get real advice. So, for example, here's a typical scene. You have $25,000 to invest. You go see a financial advisor. The advisor does some chit-chat to establish rapport, and then asks you to fill out a risk tolerance questionnaire. Then he recommends you buy funds A and B in your RSP. Now, this is financial quackery. I know it sounds normal, but that's quackery. So can you imagine this in any other field? Can you imagine going to see your doctor who asks you to fill in a pain tolerance questionnaire, after a chit chat to establish rapport, and then describes a treatment, prescribes a treatment? That'd be ridiculous. So no examination, no medical history, no medical tests, and the treatment is not the most effective treatment, but the one that fits your pain tolerance. So that's obviously quackery. So, and see how obvious it is in the medical field. It's not so obvious in financial, where we've gotten used to thinking it's normal. So why specifically is it financial quackery? So making recommendations after only knowing your risk tolerance is ridiculous. The advisor must know your entire financial position and your goals before making any recommendation. So without knowing your goals and your entire financial position, the advisor doesn't know all kinds of things. For example, is the money for your retirement? Do these investments have the growth potential to achieve your goals? Is $25,000 per year enough for you to have the retirement you want? So given the tax position that you're in today and in retirement, do RSPs even make sense for you? And also, given your tax bracket today, is $25,000 a smart amount to contribute? Is there something smarter you should be doing with that $25,000? Is it smarter to invest in your name or your spouse's? So do funds A and B fit with all your other investments? Are they properly diversified? So, and is your overall investment allocation suitable for both your risk tolerance and your life goals? So those are a whole bunch of things the advisor doesn't know, and yet making a recommendation for you. So many doctors consider homeopathic medicine to be quackery. While most of it has never been tested for effectiveness in proper studies, at least some of it probably works. The biggest problem with homeopathic medicine is when you use it instead of following your doctor's advice. So that is also the biggest problem with this story when you put $25,000 into your RSP with an advisor to buy 2 funds. After seeing this advisor, you may be tempted to believe that you received real financial advice. But there was no real financial advice, no financial plan. You just had a financial quack do a couple transactions for you instead of giving you real advice. Now, how can this ruin your financial plan or your retirement plan? To clearly illustrate the problem with financial quackery, here's how it ruins the retirement plan for most Canadians. One of the most common investment errors in our experience is investing too conservatively to achieve your retirement goal. And this error most often results from financial quackery. So the problem is you may sit down with an advisor, so I call him a financial quack, who fills out a risk tolerance survey and determines you are conservative, and then recommends you diversify into a low-risk, low-return portfolio. Now, this low-risk, low-return portfolio may have lower risk of temporary market declines, but lower risk usually also means lower return. This portfolio may very likely have a 100% risk of failure to fund the retirement you want. What's more, you don't even know about this 100% risk of failure.
For more unconventional wisdom insights, follow this podcast and share it with your friends. I sometimes refer to a chart or image. Don't worry, if you want to see the chart, it's on my YouTube channel in this video with the same name. You can be the first to receive all my new podcasts by subscribing to my email list at www.edrempel.com. My services and costs are at edrempel.com/help. You can request a free 30-minute consultation at edrempel.com/talk, or share feedback and topic ideas at edrempel.com/feedback.
So now risk means the risk of not achieving your financial goals. That's what it means in financial planning. So risk could be that your investment is too aggressive for you and you cannot tolerate the volatility. Now, risk could also be that the investment does not have enough growth potential for you to achieve your life goals. So any of those could be risk. Now, risk should take into account both your risk tolerance and your life goals. So by doing a risk tolerance survey, a questionnaire, but not doing a financial plan to see what your goals are, it's quackery. Now, this, safe investment may make you feel good, just like the snake oil made you feel better by containing alcohol or morphine, but it's certainly not effective in treating your financial goals. This is a huge problem with retirement for Canadians. We've sat down with literally thousands of Canadians to help them figure out specifically what lifestyle they want to have in retirement in detail for each lifestyle expense item. So a very detailed retirement lifestyle that they're looking for. Then we figure out the before-tax income you need, the nest egg you'll need to achieve that, and what you need to do in order to build up that nest egg. So our experience is that what Canadians are doing will leave them far short. What the people we have met were doing before we met them will, on average, give them only about 20 or 30% of the nest egg they will need to maintain their current lifestyle. So why will they have so shockingly little in retirement? When we ask them, they say they have never received retirement advice before. They do not have a financial plan. They were just making some, contributions based on whatever money they had available every year. So they have retirement investments, but no specific retirement goal. In our opinion, that unfortunately means they worked with financial quacks instead of getting real advice. So how do you make informed decisions about your risk tolerance and your goal? Imagine that you need to be in Florida for a meeting tomorrow morning. You go to a TripAdvisor who gives you a fear tolerance questionnaire and determines that you have a low fear tolerance. You could fly, drive, or walk to Florida. Now, since you have a low fear tolerance, the TripAdvisor recommends you walk. Now, obviously, this is quackery. So real advice needs to take into account your goal. You need to be told that if you walk, you might be safe, but you will not be there for the meeting at all, period. If you drive, you must leave now without packing or stopping for anything, even meals, and you must drive right through the night. That's the only way you're going to get there on time. Now, your best advice may be to pack properly and get there early by flying. So let's discuss your fear of flying. So you need to know that there will be turbulence, but it will be okay. You may fear flying, but statistics show that flying is quite safe as long as you don't get off when there is turbulence or during the stops along the way. You may fear flying, but it provides by far the best chance of success in achieving your goal. So now this does not mean you definitely must fly, but if you choose not to, then you need to know that you will not be at your meeting. You'll need to plan now to postpone the meeting or meet somewhere closer, or you can choose to fly, even though it scares you. It provides the highest chance of success, but you need advice on what you can do to fly effectively and deal with your fear. So only when you consider both your fear and your goal can you make an informed decision. This is similar to retirement planning. Your retirement nest egg can be in stock market investments, bond or income investments, or GICs in cash. So most Canadians will need to have a significant portion of their retirement investments in the stock market, or we call them equity investments, to have the best chance of maintaining their current lifestyle after they retire. The problem is that most Canadians have only been asked their risk tolerance and don't know their goal, so they're walking or driving to Florida and don't even know they will miss the meeting. So when you know both your retirement goal and your risk tolerance, you can make an informed decision. So now you can buy, for example, GICs, but you need to know now that you will almost definitely not maintain your existing lifestyle after you retire. You should plan now what specifically you will cut back so it's not a shock when you get there. Downsizing your home will probably be just the start. That's why we call GICs guaranteed insufficient cash. We have not seen anyone successfully save for a comfortable retirement with just GICs. You can invest conservatively in bonds or income investments, but then you may have to work hard to save every possible penny and possibly even cut back your lifestyle today or work longer. So you could invest in the stock market investments, but you have to know there will be turbulence. But it will be okay. Statistics show it is reasonably safe if you invest long-term in the proper way and don't get off when there's turbulence. So the point is that with real advice, you can make an informed decision about this trade-off between your goal and your fear tolerance. With the quacks approach, you'll just find out tomorrow that you didn't make the meeting after it's too late to do anything about it. So the best real advice is a financial plan that details your life goals and the best way to get there, specifically for you. So, just in summary, in our opinion, the financial quackery is one of the main reasons most Canadians struggle financially, and because of it, most Canadians don't set financial goals, make financial decisions one by one. They don't look at their entire financial picture and don't even realize that they did not get real advice. So financial quackery can ruin your retirement plan by not letting you make an informed decision about your risk tolerance and your goal. It can lead you to invest too conservatively so that you have a high risk of failing to have the retirement you want. It's common because the very few Canadians know precisely what their goals are, and because very few financial advisors follow the 6-step process to financial planning, which should include preparing a written financial plan to document their client's complete financial position and financial goals. So financial quackery is any financial advice you receive that does not look at your entire financial picture and your specific financial and life goals. Now that you know what to look for, it can be fun to quack like a duck when you recognize it. So what you learned here is, what is financial quackery? Why is it a major problem for Canadians? How can it ruin your retirement plan? And how can you make informed decisions about your risk tolerance and your goal? So thank you for listening. My name is Ed Rempel. My blog is Unconventional Wisdom. It's the #1 blog in Canada for a full-service financial planner. It's just www.edrempel.com or unconventionalwisdom.ca. If you do unconventional wisdom, it's just .ca because we're Canada. If you're interested in a free 30-minute consultation to see whether it makes sense to work together, just go to edrempel.com/talk. If you subscribe to my blog, podcast, and YouTube, all that means is you will get my weekly posts sent out to you. We don't market any other way. My podcast is edrempel.com/listen, and YouTube is edrempel.com/watch. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you for listening. For more unconventional wisdom insights, follow this podcast, give it a review, and share it with your friends. Be the first to receive all my podcasts by subscribing to my email list at www.edrempel.com. My services and costs are at edrempel.com/help, and you can request a free 30-minute consultation at edrempel.com/talk. I often cover listener questions, so if you have a burning question or topic on which you'd like to hear unconventional wisdom, please ask or share feedback at edrempel.com/feedback. See you next week.